Music, please.
Two very talented young men whose mellow and exciting style of rapping has earned them a gold album in only their first try. They are EPMD.
The E double or the PMD, the E double or the PMD.
Don't shake the business.
Trying to answer to the master or the MC rap goddess. No joke or no lyric, sorry to be modest. I knew I was the man with the master plan to make it wiggle and jiggle like gelatin. Just think while I sing and to the bring structure. Don't sleep on the ear. You see something might rupture. It don't take time for me to blow your mind. It take a second to wreck it because you're dumb and blind, so just lounge. But you an MC clappers on the circus. EP&B is in town.
Total chaos, no mass confusion. Rhyme so hypnotizing on the course and illusion. Like a magician, he draws a rabbit out of a hat, son. I draw a ball like a 40-foot Mac. MC freestyle from the listen and try to imagine. It's traveling the speed of light, but everything's motion is frightening. Plus the thought you alone, you now enter the dimension called the Twilight Zone. You're terrified. Plus you can't bear the thought. You and I one-on-one in the land of the lost. You start to shiver. Then you scream, my friend. You wake up monthly because you're dreaming again. But next time I want to see you, do not try to business. Keep your mouth a sucker jump because I'm strictly business. Because I'm strictly business. Because I'm strictly business. Because you might get shot. Because I'm strictly business.
This is the rap season, where the East starts teasing. Girls around the world, no need to be skeezing. When I roll, I show cool, always back and through just in case. A brother acts a fool, I got the energy to put the girls in the frenzy, put a shock when I rock. Giving up, I'm not stingy, make sure I don't bore when I'm on the dance floor.
Get busy, boy.
Like you never saw before, one flow, good to go. After the show, I put your whole boy. You sniff blow. Hell no, have my whole life ahead of me, no time to be sniffing. My parents find out, then they start riffing. So I stay A-OK, cause I'm the E, the R-I-C-K.
Just look me in my face, then the eyes get weak. Pulse rate descends, heart rate increases like beam me up, Scotty. I control your body, I'm as deadly as AIDS when it's time to rock the party. In all due respect, when I say mic check, let a sucker slide once, then I break his neck. So when I say jump, you will bow out high because I'm taking no prisoners, so don't play hero and die. You're just a soldier, and I'm a Google-ray. I do not think twice about the entities I slay. So if you want to battle, I highly recommend this bring your dog, mom, and dad, because I'm strictly business. Because I'm strictly business. Because I'm strictly business. Because you might get shot.
Hey yo, you still thinking on that 44, bringing the Sandman, sucker, because it's over. My name is Eric Sherman, and I'm back again. I see the head still turning in my so-called friends. They smile on my face, behind my back they talk trash, mad and stuff because they don't have cash. Like the E double or the PMD. You
Who with me? Come here. Come here. Let them know we here. Good evening. Welcome to the Wyatt Live 1 p.m. show. I barely made it, but I'm here. Hey, Rod says we in trouble. He put on clothes. See, that's a damn shame. That's a damn shame. I'm just freshly in from the office. I told you that 1 o'clock was going to be cutting it close for me. Good afternoon. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the Wyatt Live 1 p.m. show. Thank you for those that are here. Let's make it a good one. For the new people, put your seatbelt on. Stay tuned for a few minutes. It's okay to disagree. It's okay. It's okay not to be okay with what I say or what you may hear. We are a full, loving family over here that generally, can everybody hear me okay? Let me just make sure, because I took everything down to the office and I was under the impression that I was going to be in the office all day and that I was going to go live from the office. So I had to rehook up everything. So we here. So hit the like button if you can hear me. And I tell you what, for the new people, hit the heart, hit the love. If you love somebody other than yourself. I appreciate everyone that's here, everybody that gives me their ear for a couple hours, sometimes 3 hours. I really appreciate it. You know, it's funny because I was thinking today, this is totally off script. This is totally away from everything. Thank you, Fame. Thank you, everybody that thanks me. I'm telling you, this does more for me and my mental than it does, I would think, for anybody. I'm sorry. I just have to tell you that I'm being very selfish right now and telling you this is for me. Damn it. This is for me, my mental. I'm just being honest. But now, let me tell you something that I was thinking of today. And I might get in trouble and you may not stick around for the topics, but I had something in mind. I was listening to a platform and I was thinking, this is the only channel that I can listen to that has voices that look like us, sound like us. And I was listening to it and I'm like, there's only one perspective here. There's only one opinion that really matters when they're talking. There's only one narrative being pushed. And if you go against that narrative, then you sound like a fool and you can't get your point across. You can't say anything the opposite. And what's so crazy about it is the entire circle is like that. The city is like that. Can you imagine? Look, the reason why I'm bringing this up, and this is not about me, it's just something that I've experienced, and that is this. I've lived in cities that had multiple black radio stations that had different genres of music playing and also different type of talk. And what I don't like, to be honest with you, is you come into a city that has one channel and that particular channel is all you got. Can you imagine if your radio station in Cincinnati was, and there's some people that watch this from out of town that never knew what I'm about to say because they have they have different choices. They have things that they can look at. You can pick and choose what you listen to in your local city. And they have the advertisements of the local restaurants and all of that. But in Cincinnati, you only got one particular thing. And I think I think something's wrong with that. The beauty of technology today, it does allow you to reach out to different platforms. It allows you to listen to people that look like you, that may have a different opinion of some things. And that's cool. But if you're not an iPod or a podcast dude or into it like that, then you only have what you've always had. And y'all know, if you've been here for a while, you know I always use the example of going to the grocery store or picking up the ketchup that your mama always picked up. And we tend to do the same thing. We listen to all the stuff that our parents passed on to us. And we don't really open up to see what else is being talked about or what's going on. And then some of them platforms, they actually shame you for feeling different, being indifferent, having a different of opinion, call you crazy, call you stupid, call you all this old shit, call you a coon, call you all these names. And that's just, that shows you why it shouldn't be that way, because you shouldn't be called names because you have a difference of opinion. That's all I'm saying. You should, and it may not be the host. It's generally not the host. Sometimes it's the host. But what I'm saying to you is, it's really the callers that call after somebody makes a different statement or have a difference of opinion. And now you got to hear how crazy that person is. And you got to hear about how them dirty ass Republicans are. And I know, I'm going to give you a perfect example. There was no doubt in my mind when I listened to some people today that, first of all, newsflash, they found cocaine in the White House. Now, when I discovered that this morning, I was driving to the office and I heard, oh shit, Trump must have left some cocaine at the damn White House 2.5 years ago. Now, some of y'all know why I say Trump must have left it, because there was no way in somebody's mind they would think that the Biden administration or anybody that's in there currently could possibly leave some cocaine or have some cocaine in the White House. I knew it was going to be Trump's fault. There was no doubt in my mind Trump's name was going to come up when it came to some cocaine being found in the White House. Somebody tell me that, am I the only one that knew that shit was going to happen? Somebody was going to either say that it was left there or Trump planted it. It's too convenient. Yeah. I don't know. I know CNN ain't really schooling y'all. We've been listening to the dope fiend shit that's been going on in the Biden family for 2.5 years. Y'all just slow to the beat on this shit. But you think that some cocaine left in the White House is a plant. How did I know? How did I know when I woke up this morning driving into the office, when I heard cocaine found in the White House, the first thing everybody was going to say was that had to be Trump's dope. That was Trump's dope. That had to be Trump's dope. He left that shit in there 2.5 years ago. You know, I watch posts. I see posts now, and everybody going to say F him and F this. Motherfuckers that even then did they shit and went to jail say fuck Trump. I'm like, there's no shame in hypocrisy from some folks. I just don't understand it. You mad because maybe you went to jail because of some shit you did, and maybe he was accused of some shit and never went to jail for it? I don't know. I ain't going to take up for the dude. I don't even really rock with him. I think the Republican Party really need a different representative. And I told y'all, wait a minute, where's that little dude from Cincinnati? That's that shit James Brown said about Bootsy. Earl, what's that kid name from Cincinnati? That's Bootsy, boss. Call him up. That's when they lost a bass player. And Bootsy Collins, one of my favorite artists in the world, got an opportunity to play with James Brown. He sought out, he took that opportunity and he ran with it. This is the young man right here from Cincinnati, Ohio, that's running for Republican, the Republican card for the presidency of the United States of America right here. He's a Saint X grad, right in Cincinnati, Ohio. Saint X grad. And he's been talking about education. We'll talk about him later on today. He can't get no love because he got the R in front of his name. And for some odd reason, every black person in Cincinnati tends to seems to think that Republicans are, I mean, I know you've been taught. You've been taught. And it's just amazing to me. It's amazing to me how we have one platform that generally does all the talking in the political circle. And it's an echo chamber. It's an echo chamber. Whether y'all want to hear it from me or somebody else going to tell you, it's the truth. Somebody asked me the other day, why don't I call? Why would I do that? The first thing they're going to do is say that I'm clout chasing. The first thing they're going to do is say I'm only trying to call there. And I can hit facts. I can bring up facts. But, you got to pick and choose your battles. I said to myself a long time ago, 3 years ago, I said I could call the station. I can make my valid points every day and it'll fall on deaf's ears. Or I can do what I've been preaching on Wyatt Live for 3 years now of March of this year. I could say, instead of trying to fit in with everybody and trying to fit into their round tables and try to fit into their little circles and try to fit in and try to be part of their little groups and their little shit, I tell you what I'll do. I'll practice what I've been preaching for the last 30 years of my life. I'll start my own. And that way I ain't got to be on hold for 20 minutes, 30 minutes. I don't have to wait and get hung up on. I don't have to argue with people. And then after the phone closes down, now I got 15, 20 callers going in on me and how I don't make any sense. So I tell you what, I'll open up my own phone lines. I'll start my own podcast. And I'll start an area that people who disagree with me could just reach out and tell me how wrong I am. The funny thing is they just don't call. If they think that my shit is nonsense, why don't you call and dispute what I'm saying? I have reputable people that have been on here and disputed some of the things that I have said. And you know how that shit worked out at the end. You know how it worked out at the end. I'm not saying that I'm right about everything, but I definitely can eliminate some bullshit points. You can't bring in 30 years or 40 years of talking points and me not sit there and demolish it. And then say, well, he a coon or he don't know what he's talking about. All I'm telling you is this. I listen to some of the things that people say. And I consider everybody's points. I don't disagree with everyone. I just think that there's a certain way that we deal with things, deal with problems. And I try to bring as many receipts to my arguments as possible. What else are you supposed to do? What else can I do other than bring receipts to the points that I made months ago, maybe even a year and a half ago? Point at hand. You guys know it was the 4th of July weekend. We're going to talk a little bit about that. But I want to bring up something and I don't want to talk about it long, so I'm going to bring it up early. Check this out. There was massive shootings in the United States of America over the weekend. We'll talk about that here in a little bit, but I want to bring up a point. Remember the shooting that we had in OTR? The drive-by? Where they apprehended a teenager, 15-year-old, I believe, 15 or a 16-year-old. And how long have I been saying now for 2 years that people who need to be locked up are not locked up? How many times have I said that on this program? And when I said I'll challenge any judge or anybody that wants to come on and prove what I've said over the years is wrong, like it's not happening that way. And I said, well, I have the numbers, I have the data to show you. I said, look at the residual of homicides. Look at the assaults. Look at the people that are committing the crimes on the streets right now. The majority of them have pending cases and probably shouldn't even be out on the street. I've been saying that, right? We have been saying that. I got some information for you. I'm going to drop another receipt down, okay? The OTR shooting, the drive-by where the city turned up and everybody was like, what the hell, what the hell? That shooting happened where the teenagers were leaning out of the car and a few little teenagers got shot and a little 10-year-old got hit and they stopped the day and watched it on the news. Remember that? Remember that? Well, they captured one of the 15-year-olds who was shooting out of the car. Now, let me tell you on this. I don't know if you know this or not. But that same 15-year-old, 8 days prior to that shooting, court records show that this young man had a case 8 days prior to that, another weapons charge, and he was let go. He was let go with a charge pending, a case pending. He's let go right back out in the streets, and 8 days later is part of the drive-by that happened in OTR. I told you tragedies. How many? Raise your hand if you've ever heard me say this. Tragedies have to happen in order for Wyatt's points to be heard, understood, and proven. You think I want to be right? I would rather say these are brand new criminals. What is going on? But I know exactly why these criminals, the small, you would think that black folks ain't shit. You would think that we are the worst people in the world. You would think that we the only ones involved in shootings, but we all know that's not true. We all know that's not true. And I think we're mad at the wrong people. I think we need to start focusing on the people that think they on our side. The people that try to act like, oh, let's give them a chance. Let's do this. The babies. And the truth of the matter is, they're the real problem. The people that you think rocking and on your side. Y'all heard about the Pettis, Sergeant Pettis, the lady. I don't know if she's sergeant or what her position is. I don't want to disrespect her with her rankings. But I believe the sister is trying to move up in rankings and be like assistant chief or something of that nature. Look who did her in. A friend of hers recorded a conversation of her having a conversation, you know what I'm saying? Recorded some private shit. And then she released the information to the media or to the rankings at the police station. That's not a friend. Captain, thank you guys. Tracy from Cincinnati, thank you, Marcus Jenkins. Marcus, one of them, they talk about your ass all the time. My grandmother used to tell me, Rand, how could Jesus sit at a table with dudes that don't cross him and you think that won't happen to you? Even Jesus has somebody that went against him at his own table, in his own group. So let's be real. Everybody can get crossed. Everybody can get crossed. But let me share this little clip with you real fast if you guys don't mind, because this is my new attitude.
Some of you may not have realized that I'm not part of the club. You're not part of the club either. And what I realized with the club is what makes them so mad is when you don't want to be a part of their club. That pisses them off. I'm talking about the club of gatekeepers that we all got to deal with. Ever since I put out the contract with Black America, you know they've been f***ing with me. Well, what I'm going to do is go on a F*** the Gatekeepers podcast tour. And I'm going to go talk to everybody. Everybody.
Ice Cube dropping them black pills. What do you think? What do you expect?
I don't want to be part of your club either. And I haven't been. I haven't been part of the club. I've been here holding it down 3 years strong now. I don't want to be part of the club. I don't want to be part of the process. I don't want to be part of the echo chamber. I don't want to be part of the shit like what they're not talking about right now. All I'm saying to you is this. Isn't it convenient how you have all these situations going on and they don't talk about it? They don't talk about it. I'm going to give you a perfect example. Here's another receipt, if I could share one. If I could share a receipt, here go a receipt. Let me see if I had a clip. The video, it's not even a video. It's a picture. Check this out. Y'all know I ain't got no problems with nobody. I know when I say something, y'all must think I got a problem with the person. I got a problem maybe with what they do, but it's not personal. If you making money off the shit you saying, if you making an income or a living and you sending us into a burning church, I got something to say about it. Go figure. ABC declines to renew Whoopi Goldberg's contract. $9 million a year for 3 years would have been her renewal. She probably would have got a raise. They used you, Whoopi. They used you. They used you. They absolutely used you. And this is the same individual. Look, I like me some Whoopi Goldberg, not the political talking Whoopi Goldberg. She lost me there. I like the Whoopi Goldberg from all the Sister Act movies, The Color Purple. I do what you do, Whoopi. Stay in your lane, but you sold us out. You went and started talking all that old fake politic, put black people in their place line shit. Half the time you didn't know what you were talking about, and you had to come back and retract and give apologies when you went off script. That let me know right there they was writing all her shit. She was a yes man. She was a yes man for them. Now, how many times was I saying, what the fuck is she talking about? How many times did you hear me say that? And then how many times could I debunk any point she was making? Oh yeah, I'm a coon. I've been called a coon. I've been told I attack black women. No, just tell the truth. Shoot some real shit. I'm with you. But when you call people coons for having it, look, it is degrading for you to call a black man a coon when he promotes education in the black community. Who sound like the coon? Who sound like the person that's trying to hold somebody back when you are calling this man a coon, a not engaged individual, meaning the Tim Scott guy? You can't hold a candle to that man. When it come down to politics. Remember when Whoopi Goldberg, what's the other girl? What's that girl? What's the Sonny Hoskins, when they said, they told Tim Scott that he was an exception to the rule. Y'all don't think that resonated with a lot of people? And they said, Whoopi Goldberg, if Tim Scott is an exception to the rule, then what does that make the Sonny Hoskins lady? And what does that make Whoopi Goldberg? And what does that make Joy Reid? What does that make Perm in the suit, Al Sharpton? What does that make what's the other one name? What's the other one name that I always Is Benjamin Crump an exception to the rule? Is your local high-profile attorney in Cincinnati, Ohio, is he an exception to the rule? I'm from 1335 John Street, Law Homes. Am I an exception to the rule? Every day you get up to go to work, you didn't put 20 years in. Every day. You didn't put 20 years in. Are you an exception to the rule? Emmanuel Livingston says he's clearly an exception to the rule. He is a black senator. Well, then, according to that logic, so is Sonny Hoskins. She's not a senator. So is Whoopi Goldberg. She's not a senator. So is everybody else she said was an exception to the rule. Is there a rule that you can't be black and be a senator? The last time I checked, what's the lady name? What's the lady name out of St. Louis? What's the guy's name out of California? The last time I checked, oh, you mean because he's the first one in 113 years. That makes him an exception to the Carolina rule. You mean he ran against all those white people in South Carolina and beat them, so he's an exception to the rule. When was the last time anybody that would say that he's an exception to the rule, you must have the information of knowing how many of the black senators ran for that seat over the last 113 years. You got to have that information to make that comment. You got to know that there's other black senators. You got to know that. Cori Bush, all the ones that's hollering for reparations right now out in California. And I mean, I'm just saying. E-Man says the rule has been that senators are white. No, that's been what's been going on. How many black people have run for senators against white people in South Carolina? How many actually run? How many go after that job? It's not a rule that you can't go. It's not even, are we past that white people don't vote for black people? How many black people and white people voted for Barack Obama? Somebody explain to me, what's the exception to the rule? What's the exception to the rule? What is the rule? No black senators allowed? Well, we broke that rule a long time ago. So Obama wasn't in Congress? So he went straight from his law firm? He went straight from Kamala Harris? You telling me that so you say, E-Man said Obama is an exception to the rule. He was a black president of the United States. Wait a minute, hold on. What was he before he was the president of the United States? What was he before he was the president of the United States? Did that not require white and black votes? I'm just asking. But let me get back to the Whoopi thing. Do I want to see her lose her job? No. But now let me see if she's willing to go do. What's the rule, E? Emmanuel said, yes, they are exceptions to the rule. What's the rule? Write the rule down. The rule is what? Black people can't be successful. Black people can't do what white people can do. White people won't allow us to be what they are. Can you hear that? Can you hear? Look, I understand at one particular time in this world that it probably was like that. It was probably like that. They didn't want us in their swimming pools. They didn't want us drinking out their water fountains. They didn't want us around to do shit other than labor. Okay. But what is the rule? And what makes you the exception to that rule? Let me ask you. In the next 5 years or 10 years, when your daughters and your sons go off to be great because they finish school, finish trade school, finish universities, finish what they put the work into to be great at doing their professional careers, do you now turn to them and say, you are an exception to the rule because of where I'm from? Before your grandma, where your grandmother from? You an exception to the rule. Sounds crazy to me. It sounds like the same person that won't understand how the little young girl wrote her statement the other day. I'm gonna show it to you. Excuse me. Let me show you this. Oh, let me read this real fast. Email just put a post up. He said, the rule is not written law. Okay. Thanks, E. The rule is not written law. It is what the norm for a certain group of people. If you get out of the norm, you are the exception to the rule. So you mean it's an unwritten rule, not necessarily an unwritten law. We know that it's not a law. Okay, it's not a law that black people can't be successful in this world. That's not a law. But E, I don't know about what you just said. You said something that's not a norm is now considered against the rule. It's not. If it's not the norm, I'm a little confused. If it's not the norm, then it must be. Then you're going against the rule. The norm is the rule. Okay, I'm gonna try to work this out and make it make sense to me, because we got a whole bunch of people that look like us in the United States of America that then tore down that logic a long time ago. So if you have a female black doctor who works in a cancer ward and she's discovering new outputs of cancer research, is she considered an exception to the rule? Or is she really like a genius or going into an area that she's just now discovering, and she has the information to be able to change things? I'm confused. Let me see my people that critical think, who came up. E, one of them, he critically thinks. He's a problem solver. Let me see if he can solve this problem for me real fast. E, what you think about this statement right here by this young lady? What do you think about this statement? Affirmative action was ended in college admissions. I know y'all want to think that affirmative action is long gone dead now, but it's only in college admissions. But for some odd reason, people with voices and platforms can't get it that it's in college admissions. It's not affirmative action programs in corporate and in other areas. Let me ask you something. E, do me a favor. Slow walk me through this, brother. Make me understand what I'm missing here. How does this sound to you? This is a Joe Biden a former staffer. Her name is Erica Marsh. A lot of people have already seen this, but I got a few new faces here, and I want to see if this pinches a nerve with you like it may pinch the nerve on some other people. This young lady says, today's Supreme Court decision is a direct attack on black people. Now, a lot of black people really believe that too. We would all have to raise our hand and say, yeah, this is going to affect black people. But now listen to her opinion of it. She says, quote, no black person will be able to succeed in a merit-based system, which is exactly why affirmative action-based programs were needed. Today's decision is a travesty. That's basically telling me we're not smart enough to achieve in merit. No black person can achieve through merit. So no matter how well your grades are, no matter how well you achieve in school, and it don't matter. It doesn't matter. Explain to me how the people that you think, this young girl, she thinks she's saying something positive. She thinks she riding for the black folks. This is what that side of the world think of you. You ain't even smart enough to go. So we gotta place you in there. This is an attack on black people. They're not smart enough to get in Harvard. They're not smart enough to get there on merit. They have to get a handout. If you're not offended by that statement that young lady wrote, then we probably will have to agree to disagree on a whole lot of things. I got two beautiful young ladies in my life, my daughters. Both of them, I won't say both of them are highly scholars, but I'll say they're going through what they need to do to make it to the next level in life. One has graduated from from Ohio State University this year. Those 4 years went by so fast. And now she's already applied and she will be attending medical school next year. It's a year-long wait. My other daughter has been accepted at Belmont University. She starts in August. We move her in on August the 17th. Am I producing exceptions to the rule, or am I just doing what I'm supposed to do as a parent? Am I producing what I'm supposed to produce as a parent, or am I just producing exceptions? No, I'm doing what I'm supposed to do as a father. I'm opening up horizons. I'm showing we're doing what we're supposed to do. I get tired of these type of conversations because it makes us combative. It's a combative conversation. It puts us against each other. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. You know what? Hold on. Call back, E. The line is not even on. I'm sorry about that. It's coming on now. Give it about 2 minutes, or give it a minute. These type of conversations make us combative, and it's not necessary. It puts us against one another. And I say all the people that had so much to say about the affirmative action situation, a lot of them fall back when there's a real conversation that needs to be had. And that is, what are our kids learning at a basic level? Where are our kids starting in school? Why aren't we more involved and more engaged at the elementary level in school? Why aren't we that? Why aren't we engaged more? Why are our PTO meetings, why are those meetings so slim? Why do we have such a high dropout? These are areas we need to focus on. It's just like we missing the young man that was shooting at the OTR, the drive-by, what is it, a month ago or something? Month and a half ago now? 8 days prior to that happening, this young man got caught in another gun. He had weapons. And you know what they did? The court system allowed this young man right back out on the streets. 8 days later, we don't want to have something to say about that. We don't want to talk about that. I've been telling y'all this for two and a half of the 3 years. Nobody wants to have a real conversation. We want to talk about the after. We got all of this, instead of this, we got too much, damn it, reactive people going on. We have too much reactive souls and not a lot of preactive. Or, like, we need to catch this shit before it happens. But for some odd reason, we get more engaged and we get more people involved after the fact, after the kid shoots up downtown. I don't get it. I'm frustrated. Now, another thing I'm frustrated with, 4th of July. People can't say that they celebrated 4th of July if you look like me or look like you. If you celebrated the 4th of July, people would make fun of you. They would make fun of you. I don't think that's right. Some people, look, let me tell you what I think about the 4th of July. For many, many years as a child, when we celebrated 4th of July and had that little raggedy ass barbecue grill down the way, yeah, I know the little round one, 2 little raggedy ass wheels on it or legs. I never asked my mama or my grandmother, okay, so it's the United States of America's birthday? As a child, I didn't even know what the holiday was. Same thing with Christmas. I mean, you might hear, oh, it's Jesus' birthday. But you ain't thinking about Jesus when you opening up your gifts. Nobody says, I don't know anybody where I'm from, when Christmas was coming, the only time they was thanking God for Christmas is the shit that they was getting in gifts. That's the only thing I knew. I didn't sit back and say, praise the Lord. It's Jesus' birthday. I didn't grow up in that type of house. So why do we shame each other for holidays? I seen Dr. Umar Johnson. I had to text the brother. I'm like, what you mean? If you see any black people celebrating the 4th of July, that is coon season number 1, we're cutting off all coons. Anybody that celebrates 4th of July, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. I don't really celebrate the 4th of July either, but there's a lot of holidays that I don't support, that I don't celebrate. But that don't mean I'm gonna call you an idiot or I'm gonna call you a coon because you took a day off work. It's a national federal holiday. I didn't see anybody that wasn't celebrating. I didn't see their ass go clock in work. I didn't see them going out making no extra money that day. I didn't see them put it like this. If you don't want to go to work on a national holiday that you don't agree with, then go get your own hustle up then. Start your own business and use the days that you don't celebrate the national holidays. That should be the day that you go even harder on your own business. Because you ain't got no competition that day. You the only one open. Empower yourself instead of tearing everybody else down for what they choose to do. So if you a dry cleaner or you sell something out here, leave your store open on these going to work. All your people will come to your store. But you got to get your store first. You got to open your dry cleaners first, but you just sitting back talking. Let me go to the phone lines real fast. Hold on one second. Good afternoon, caller. This is Wyatt. Who am I speaking with?
My name is Emmanuel Livingston.
I don't know that name, sir. Can you say it again?
They call me the King of Talk.
Oh,
hey, how you doing?
The King of Talk.
Wyatt?
It is Emmanuel Livingston, y'all. Everybody give me E-Man a hand. The King, we haven't heard you in a few days, so,
It has been a few days.
No, thanks for coming on, brother. Appreciate you being here. What's happening, man?
I think you're being a little hard on people, man.
I am?
Yeah. I think you're being a
little... First tell me what people I'm talking about. You talking about?
People who might not see things from your point of view. You not as harsh, but you kind of doing the same thing to them that you don't want them to do to other people.
By saying it's wrong to kind of like to criticize people or call them names because of what they believe in?
Well, you're not just saying that.
What did I say?
You are suggesting that you're saying
it sounds like
that,
you looking for something, E. It sounds like
No.
you searching for some shit.
I'm searching for the right words. You're saying
Okay.
You're kind of dogging them out
How?
for.
Hey,
I mean,
E, let me ask you something, brother. You're a talkative dude, and you know I gotta love her. You a talkative dude, and you probably didn't talk a whole lot when you was a kid. Like you wasn't a bully, were you? You wasn't a bully.
Absolutely not.
Okay,
No,
but
no.
but you strike me as the type of kid that if the bully tried you, you probably end up doing something to the bully. You wasn't big on getting bullied, right?
Oh no.
Yeah, your personality don't tell me that bullies stood a chance with you. So if you really think about what I'm telling you, that's kind of like how I was as a kid. And that's kind of like how I'm coming off now. So if you think I'm attacking somebody, all I'm attacking are those that attack others. I'm just slapping the bully in his mouth.
No, I get that. I get what you're saying. I just think, you know how like say I don't agree with Wyatt. And so because I don't agree with Wyatt, I start calling Wyatt, the C word. I don't like to use the C word. But I start calling Wyatt, the C word.
A coon?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's what they do.
Right. So, and once I start calling you that, I done lost all shot of winning you over to my point of view. No matter how much reason and logic I throw out there, I done called you the C word. You know what I'm saying? That kind of shuts you down. And you know what I'm saying? Well, maybe not you, but for some people. I was going to
say some personalities, yeah. But me, not necessarily. But yeah, I get you. I follow you. Go ahead.
And that's what all I'm saying is I'm kind of hearing that from you, like in your tone. The way that you coming at it, you know what I'm saying? Kind of, yeah, you just saying that it's wrong, but you kind of bashing them.
So it's not wrong. Right. It's not right to punch the bully back in the mouth. Where others won't do it, I'm sticking up for those. Like, there's a lot of people, E, let's be honest, bro. And I heard it on you. To be honest with you, bro, I heard them attacking you because you baked some chicken on the 4th of July or barbecued some chicken. Should you be attacked for that? And should you be attacked for that?
I should not be.
Well, damn it, I just stood up for you when I told them I just took off for you. You talking about? So what? You don't want me to punch the bully for you?
No. I'm cool with them saying whatever they're gonna say because I don't care.
Okay, but everybody ain't like you, E. There's some people that got some feelings out here, bro, and they need people to stand up for them.
Okay, all right. I'll leave that one alone.
I think I hear you, but I don't agree with you. Okay, and that's we're cool on. I don't agree with that, but I think my point to what your point is I agree with you, but I agree to your point, but I don't agree with your emphasis of what I'm trying to do. But what I'm trying to do is I am trying to punch the bully who's not used to being hit back by somebody that they're bullying. And I just want to be hey, if they want some smoke, I'm here for it, E. That's basically what I'm saying.
And all I'm saying is I get that, but while you punching the bully back, that's probably not going to make the bully kind of step back and reassess the way that he handles it. That's going to make him dig his heels deeper in. And so now you're not only going to be the C word, you're going to be a N word, or you're going to be a house in, or you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
he's going to step it up.
Well, they got to only step it up in their own neck of the woods, though. They got to stay in their backyard with that shit. And that's basically showing them, and you got to take their distance away. It's just like in boxing. The hard puncher, you got to take his distance away. So the big bullies, I take their distance away. The ones that want to bully you, E, on the radio and all that old shit, I say, hey, the only platform they can do that on is over there. You can't come over here and prove that E is a sellout or a coon because he barbecued some chicken on the 4th of July. And if they want to prove that you are, they got to come over here and tell me. See what I'm saying? They limit it.
I do. I see what you're saying.
I got your back, brother. I got your back.
Now let's talk real quick about this exception to the rule.
Okay.
Because I know you're a brilliant guy.
I'm not brilliant. I'm not brilliant. Don't start that shit.
Yes,
I'm not brilliant.
You're a brilliant guy.
I am not brilliant. I got C's and D's in school.
That ain't got nothing to do with being
brilliant. And my
brilliant.
LSAT score was not high. Okay? It was not. I barely made it.
But you understand the concept of the exception to the rule.
No,
right?
I think it's
you just goofing around.
No, I don't. Let me tell you why I don't, E, and it's not long. I'm gonna give you the floor back. Because I never seen a rule. I've seen certain things I've seen what we call the standard, but I've never seen a rule. The rule used to be you can't get in this swimming pool. The rule used to be you can't drink at our water fountains. That was regularly a rule. Like you said, it wasn't necessarily a law, but it was a rule that should have put us in a position where we said, F your rules. We're going to do our own thing. I'm going to get my own swimming pool. I'm going to get my own water fountains. I'm going to get my own restaurants. And we did that, E. We did that.
Wyatt, come on, man. You understand the concept of the exception to the rule being.
I know that it's a phrase that's been taught to us.
Look. If 99% of people achieve at a certain level, and I, for whatever reason, I'm exceptional, and so I exceed that level. But then once I get to that level where I exceed what 99% of the people can do, I now look at the 99% and say, you can do the same thing I just did. No, bro, you're an exception to the rule because you're exceptional. You have whatever ability to achieve maybe a little higher than the vast majority of people. It doesn't mean no one else can achieve that. All it means is you have exceeded a certain level that the vast majority of people can't. That's all it means when people say you're the exception to the rule. And Tim Scott, I don't even know that this is debatable. How many, in the modern era, how many Black senators have there been?
How many on the Democratic side?
No, just period. How many have there been?
I mean, I don't know off the top of my head.
I think I can think of 4.
I can think of, well, you talking about 4 currently.
Yes.
Okay, well, I mean, I don't know how many over the years. I'm not really up on.
But that's why I said kind of in the modern
because
era.
It doesn't,
I can think of Barack Obama.
Does it?
I can think of Cory Booker. I can think of Tim Scott, and I can think of Warnock. Those are the only 4 that I can think of in the modern era.
But wait a minute. Are you saying because 99.9% of them are white, that the few that get through are exceptions to some rule?
I'm saying
no. Let me ask you. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm saying because it is so rare in the modern era to see a Black senator. For a Black senator to then say, "Oh, everybody can do this."
Come on, E.
Like,
I understand.
It's like, bro,
wait a minute. Hold on. He's not saying that everybody can be a senator because he would say that to white and Black people because white people aren't that. I don't know why Black folks think that white people can do everything in the world, but they're not all inclined to be senators either. And Tim Scott is not specifically narrowing it down to senator. He's talking about being successful in this country. He's speaking from a broader perspective. And you trying to make it all about being just like him and becoming a senator. And that's exactly what they tried to do on The View when that's not the angle that he's talking about. He's not talking about being a senator like himself. He's just saying being successful in this country of America, and he calls it the greatest country in the world. Now, if he says all of that, that's how he feels. That's what he do. But when you, wait a minute, hold on. Let me use this last example. When the girl, Sonny Hoskins, called him an exception to the rule, she knew it was wrong. She knew she had to step back because she had to correct it. She said, well, wait a minute. Just like me, meaning herself, just like this lady, the Latino lady that was up there, and just like even the missus, she had to break this shit down, E. She had to get soft. And even the wonderful, the most beautiful, the gorgeous person in the world, even Miss Whoopi Goldberg is the exception to the rule. How are they exceptions to the rule, E?
They're exceptions to the rule probably because
no black media people in America.
No, they're exceptions to the rule, again, because it's not the norm for you to end up on The View. It's not the norm for you to end up in a certain economic status.
Then hold on. Then guess what? The white lady, whatever her name is, the white lady on that show, she's an exception to the rule as well.
Yes.
Well, you can't use that logic in bringing it into Black folks. It can't be just one. You can't have it both ways, E.
You can't. You absolutely can have it both ways.
No, you cannot.
It's just reasonable and logical.
Okay, well, check it out. Every NFL player.
Wyatt, here's what I don't understand. I don't understand how being an exception to the rule is in some way, shape, or form an insult. It's not.
They
It's
used
just
it.
more of a
They
statement
used
of
it in it.
fact.
They used it as an insulting way, saying just
I didn't
because.
perceive that.
Okay, well, guess what? It was, because guess what she's saying? Just because you made it, don't mean everybody else can, and that's not a fair statement. Because
But it's true.
But I know, but it's not a fair statement in how she tried to plan it. Because he's not saying be him. He's not saying be me, Tim Scott, the senator. He's saying be me,
Right.
Tim Scott, the cotton
Well,
picker family.
maybe,
and now
hold on, maybe we saw two different interviews, because at one point in that interview he justified that by talking about the number of black senators and how, what he say, 10 years ago it was only one, which made that
That's
1%,
because they brought it up.
Now it's 3.
They brought it up. She brought up of how many. She said to him, "How many senators are there? Have there been in South Carolina in 113 years? You're the only one." So that's what she brought to the argument. He wasn't talking about being a senator.
Still, I don't understand why being an exception to the rule becomes an insult. It's just the truth. Look,
because it all depends on the content. It all depends on how you bring it to the table. It all depends on how you try to use it.
And again, this is a matter of perception. This is a matter of perception.
And the perception that she put out was no other. You're an exception to the rule because of who you are. Other people can't do what you can do. Everybody can't do what you can do. And to me, that's insulting. She's right.
But it's true.
Everybody don't have the same IQ test or the high IQ scores and all of that. But everybody in this country has an opportunity to be productive and be somebody. That's what he's selling. He's not saying everybody can be the next Barack Obama. He's not saying everybody can be the next him.
Hold on, let me say first, I reject that that's what he's selling. I think that what he's selling is more of everybody can be like me, but y'all just choosing not to be because there's something inherently wrong with you.
Don't get that out of that, man. Come on, man. I say the shit on here, bro. I say, look, I brag about being from 1335 John Street, bro. All my partners, majority of everybody that I know, been to jail. Not all of them. To my brothers that y'all know who y'all are. Not everybody. We had circumstances, but we had choices. And the choices we made led to who we are today. And just because I turn around and say, hey, look, I'm from 1335 John Street, and I could have did this, I could have did that, and I would have ended up like that. And then that's not saying that I'm an exception to the rule, E. I'm an exception to my decision making. That's all that is, bro.
Wyatt, I'm going to disagree with you
again.
If you look at your friends, right, and the way that y'all all turned out, the people you rode with, whatever, and if the overwhelming majority of them ended up in jail or, are terribly underachieving, and you are clearly, as we can see, overachieving, you are the exception to the rule when it comes to your group.
When you look at it from a perspective like that, yes, but that's not somebody coming in telling me, look, somebody coming in saying that the only reason why I'm an exception to the rule is because I'm smarter than them guys and they never stood a chance. That's insulting. They stood just as much chance as I did. They just decided to make different decisions, E. You missing it, bro.
Well, let me tell you,
we all started at 1335. Right. We started at the same starting block. Now,
I'm asking you because I don't know these people. Did they all have, would you say y'all are all the same intelligence level?
No, but it don't take intelligence, E.
Hold on, I'm just asking.
Okay, so my bad. Phrase your question. Go ahead. I'm sorry about that. My apologies.
So that's what I said. Would you say that y'all all the same intelligence level?
No.
You said no.
I got a couple of them. I would say a couple of them were not as intelligent as me. And then I had a couple that were more intelligent than me.
Okay. And would you say that y'all all had the same life opportunities? Like, I don't know how you ended up overseas. I've never actually asked you that question.
That came late in life.
Huh?
That came late in life.
No, but I'm asking, did y'all all have the same opportunities?
Pretty much, all the way up to the age of 15.
Well, I mean,
the pivotal age. Okay, I know where you're going, and I'm not trying to jump your question. I'm saying pretty much the whole same. Yes, I made some of the choices they made as well. E. That's why I'm telling you. We know right from wrong. When we 13, 14, 15 years
I
old,
agree.
we know right from wrong. We also know that this ain't right and where it could lead us. If we choose and continue to take that path, now we just going against the grain, and we gonna be smarter than everybody. But the truth of what you're saying, from the age of birth, I was literally born in Laura Holmes. I left Laura Holmes at the age of 12 and moved up to the hills of the Fay Apartments, baby. I moved up. It got better. Shit got better. We had grass in the front yard, grass in the backyard, and we all still had a hood mentality. So it didn't really.
Hold on. Where was the family situation the same? Extended family situation the same?
I mean, E, we can't say that about everybody, but majority of us all was raised by our mamas. I had one friend.
Here's the point I'm trying to make without even going through all the hullabaloo. Here's the point I'm trying to make. There are a whole lot of factors that factor into why a person makes a particular. So just to look at it and say, well, you made that decision, I made that decision, and this group of decisions put me here, that group of decisions put me there. If you would have just made the same or similar decisions that I made, then you would probably be here. That's not taking into account a whole myriad of factors that creates a situation where I make this decision. You know, maybe your mom was like, you know, hey boy, do what's right, whatever. But maybe my mom was like, hey boy, you go get over it. You do whatever you got to do. And then, you know, to sure, I still get the blame because I made the decision, but it's not the same set of circumstances. And I think we do ourselves and other people a disservice when we judge them without knowing their circumstances. Now, your circumstances ain't an excuse, so, you know, to speak. Like, if you go rob somebody, I don't care what your circumstances was, you still gotta, you know, pay whatever the penalty is or whatever. But to look at it and be like, well, you know, we didn't have no food. We didn't have no this. We didn't know who to reach out to. I saw somebody, you know, I went to the store and it was a thing of meat there and I stole it and I got caught. You're like, oh, but you the one chose to steal.
And that changed.
But you know what I'm saying?
And basically that logic, that changed that young man's life forever because he didn't have no money to get the damn pickle and the hot plate. That was me, E. Okay, we didn't have everything. But at a certain point, you got to say, hey, look, I did things when I was a kid because I wanted it. But E, let me ask you a quick question, bro. And I can't really, I don't want you to answer it. It's just it's a question that I'm going to throw in the air, but it's not for you to answer, okay?
I like a good rhetorical question.
Right. You probably never sold drugs in your life. And you probably never been around drug dealers in your life. You might know some, but they never really been your partners. You didn't grow up with dope dealers and shit like that. I'm assuming you didn't grow up like that.
I would say that is mostly correct.
Okay, and you know, the most people who always talk about conditions and people don't have money and don't have shit, you know who usually got the biggest and longest stories and can define people's circumstances the most?
No, who's that?
People that ain't never been in that type of shit before. And I'm telling you, I've been there. And I'm going to tell you something. I didn't grow up with one dude that turned dope dealer who didn't have somewhat of a loving family, who didn't have a mama that was there with him, who didn't have uncles and all this other shit. And they went into that life for all the different reasons in which y'all talk about. They go in that life because it's prestigious, it's fast money, and nobody's telling them anything different. Okay? So my point to you is this. I know couple of my friends who were very intelligent. Remember I said there was a couple that wasn't that intelligent that I was smarter than, and then there was a couple that were more intelligent than me.
Yes, I do. I remember.
Both of them went to jail. They smarter than me, but they also had a level of greed, and the streets took them over. See, the streets out hustled their parents, their mamas, and this is what you get. I don't know one drug dealer that I grew up with where he had to sell drugs. He was forced to sell drugs. He did it by choice. And they'll tell you today after they done did they time. They'll turn around and tell you, bro, every number that I got, it was my choice. I chose to do that shit. I could have went and got a job.
But again, Wyatt,
I could have went and got a job. They say that.
Specifically, I'm not just talking about somebody who decided to go sell drugs. I'm talking about people making all kind of bad decisions.
I just narrowed it down. I narrowed it down.
I know, I understand. And there are a lot of reasons why a lot of people make bad decisions. Not that any of them are okay. But I think to kind of, for me to bring it back home, for anybody, Tim Scott or whatever, to say basically, I achieved this, you should have achieved.
You know why he say that?
You,
You know why he say that, E? Because what he's doing, he's setting a precedent of where he's from and where his family was. They were cotton pickers. They literally, his mother and his grandmother, they literally came from the cotton fields of South Carolina to understanding the true value of education. And he wants to implement education and have school choice for families, for black families specifically. And he understands that that is the key to us getting out of all these bad choices, is to get yourself focused on things other than entertainment. Like I said the other day, Ian, I bet you you will agree with this if you don't agree with a lot of other things. We got a lot of kids in the culture that know Cardi B songs, but they can't recite a poem. They can't talk about a book. They just know all of the entertainment aspects of what we do, but they don't really know, they don't put the education part of it front. That is a sense of an element that we got to change that, bro. We got to change that. Those are the kids that are going to end up shooting outside the windows of cars at 15 years old. Most of them can't read.
Is that I don't necessarily disagree with that, but I don't think that's the spirit that Tim Scott is coming from.
I don't know. You know why? Because every time you listen to the people on the radio and every time you get this perception of this man, they're giving you they're giving you the perception of what some things are. We're taught trauma, bro. A lot of us.
Bro, I listen to Tim Scott, and that is not the spirit that I get from a Tim Scott. Now, look, I
get it. I don't think
know that I disagree with a whole lot of what you said, right?
Okay.
I mean,
thanks.
from a political standpoint, we are not lockstep.
All right, from a political point, okay, I get you.
So I disagree with a lot of what you said. But I don't get that same spirit coming from you, even though I disagree with you, as I get coming from Tim Scott. Now, look, I could be wrong.
Touche.
It's just my perception.
Touche. Let me tell you what you're saying. Let me tell you how I take that. Touche. I don't think Tim Scott is a very good presenter. I don't think he's a very good speaker. That is one of his downfalls, to be honest with you, brother. I don't think he comes across. I think he seems to be a little scripted. Okay, I think he comes off saying what he says, E, and I could see where you would come off and how you could think that of him, because he seems like he is scripted. He doesn't seem genuine, but I like what he says. But I understand what he's talking about more so than him having to, it's some preachers that's real good. They say all that gospel shit and they sound good. It flow. They sound like Jay-Z in the pulpit, but they don't mean none of it. But they said it and it sound good. So I understand what you're saying, because Tim Scott is not the most, he doesn't have the best delivery.
I don't think it's that, but let's move on from Tim Scott.
Okay.
We disagree. Lastly,
but you disagree with his point, with his position.
I disagree with the spirit from which he's coming from.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. Like, for real, if you if I'm telling some young kids, like, look, get yourself an education and you can become anything that you want to be. That's one thing. You like, all right, that's cool. But if some other dude coming at him, looking at him like, what I'm saying, you basically ain't nothing, and this is my way to diminish you, and I'm telling you, well, you need to go read a book. Get yourself some education, then you can be something. That's a totally different spirit. And that's the way that I perceive Tim Scott. But again, that's just me. And it could be.
You know why, E? You know why?
Totally.
Let me tell you why, E. I'm about to say it. A lot of people ain't going to say this to you, brother. And it ain't towards you directly. It's just to a lot of black folks that don't like when black folks say things about what black people need. They don't like to hear the truth sometimes. We don't want to hear, you know what? Some people would rather hear a white person, because that's what it's coming down to. You got white people telling black people how they don't understand how it is to be black in America. You can thank The View for that too. But this is what I don't understand. I don't like it when you get people like the Bill Cosbys that come out and say what needs to be said, and the Judge Joe Browns, they come out and say what needs to be said, and then they turn out to be the villain because black folks don't like what they're saying. I don't like that.
You're not about to get me off track talking about Bill Cosby.
I'm not going to talk about Bill Cosby, but you know that's true.
I agree with you.
You know that's true, E. Bill Cosby was the greatest thing on earth until he started talking. Okay, but no, I'm talking. Okay, let's be honest. We're talking about the Cosby days. We're talking about Fat Albert on up and his little note. He doesn't never say a cuss word on tour type of guy. That's what I'm talking about. He was the family oriented dude from the Cosby Show and all of that. Huh?
You're trying to get me. I really
no. I'm being honest. So he wasn't America's dad. He wasn't named America's dad.
He was named America's dad.
Okay, so that's what we're talking about. We're not talking about who he is away from the camera. We're talking about on-camera perception.
I don't want to talk about Cosby. please don't get me started on
Well,
Cosby.
you don't
Please.
you don't want to talk about his case and all that type of stuff, right?
No. I don't want to talk about
But it's a fact
him
that he
and,
was
and his disdain for poor black people.
well, okay, maybe you didn't like what he said, but there was some truths in a lot of the things that he said. And you can't get mad at somebody. Well, I can't. You can get mad at who you want to.
I'm sorry, I can disprove what he said real quick. Like
what
real quick.
What did he say first, then disprove it?
He said poor black people don't value education. That's a direct quote. Poor black people don't value education.
Okay, I have to take your word on it. I never heard him say that. Okay, but I'm not suggesting that he didn't. But you know what? Is this one of them things that could have been taken out of context?
No,
because you obviously can't believe that all poor black. I mean, we all were poor. You can't say we all didn't agree. I mean, that we all didn't value education. I think what he was talking about is poverty. There's a poverty situation. There is a classism problem in this country. And when you look at classism, when you look at the poor people, a lot of poor people don't put education as a priority, is what he's saying.
I agree, but no, that's not what he was saying.
Okay, well, maybe my perception.
He didn't say a few. He said poor black people don't value education.
How was
and
the
that's
question?
Where Bill Cosby lost me.
Okay, well, you you tough on people. E, you real tough. I mean, LeBron James took one picture, and you don't like him. He took one picture, and the man has been way better and bigger than that.
And now you want to get me started on the gorilla. Can we just move on to affirmative action?
Go ahead.
Quick?
Let's go to affirmative action.
I disagree with the Caucasian chick who said, what was it, that now black people won't be able to get into Harvard because they're not, they won't qualify or whatever.
She said Supreme Court decision is a direct attack on black people. No black person will be able to succeed in a merit-based system, which is exactly why affirmative action-based programs were needed. Today's decision is a disgrace. That came from somebody that support black folks.
Yeah, I disagree with that wholeheartedly. I think that is that's racist, and I don't support it.
Okay,
just to put that out there.
Okay, so what's your take, bro, on this affirmative action? We haven't heard from you on that.
I like the idea of colleges being able to give a little bit of preference for things. One of them being race, of course, one of them being legacy, one of them being people who donate. They got a whole lot of stuff that they can, I always use the term, even though whether or not this is the exact thing, where they can, basically give you some points, for this and give you some points for that. I like the idea of race being one of those, but race not being one of those. Of course, I said, if you're going to get rid of preferential status, get rid of it across the board. So, I'm saying no legacy. That shouldn't bump you up a few points.
But wait, let me ask you something. I know that the legacy, because of these Harvard universities, these prestigious universities, are predominantly white. The legacy just doesn't sound good in dealing with these predominantly white schools, correct? You agree with that? Like Harvard definitely has this legacy situation. For those that may not know, because some people don't know what the legacy rule is, basically you get extra points if your parent went there, or your grandmother or some grandfather went to that university, and they're an alumni. You get a few extra points as an upcoming person that want to go to that school.
And the argument right now that I believe the NAACP and a few other organizations are making is that for some of these institutions, that is exceptionally heavily weighted towards white students. Like I think the statistic was thrown out that 70% of the people who will get that preference are white.
Well, yeah, because of that's an obvious stat, because it's heavily populated of white people.
Exactly.
So that's definitely a fact. Okay, but here's the thing. Let's look at it like this. I got to look at the legacy situation is a hard one to compare up against for me, because I look at it like this. E, I know you went to you went to an HBCU, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so now if little baby come up behind you, your grandbaby, and she's going, what school was it you went to, brother?
Alabama State. Her mama went to Alabama State too.
Okay, so with you going to Alabama State, your daughter coming up behind you going to Alabama State, she should get some legacy points for that. Let me tell you why, E. Because if you're doing like what most alumni do, you're supporting the school. You're supporting the school financially. You're supporting the school in enrollment by going out and recruiting other people. You're a platform for that school when you're out in your workforce. You're wearing your t-shirts that got the school. You're promoting the school. The legacy rule, just because it works well for white folks, don't mean that it can't work well for black people either. Maybe not at Harvard, but I don't want to see that go away. I think there's other things that can happen. And the reason why I say that, bro, is because of this. I think that if you take it out of Harvard, you got to take it out of Tuskegee. You got to take it out of Howard. You got to take it out of schools where I think it's more. I think that, brother, I think that legacy rule is more important to us where it exists for us now than where we want it to be taken away from. It means more at the HBC level for me. Because if we're doing what we're supposed to do and we're donating back to the HBCUs and we're getting our kids to follow our footsteps in these schools will become so powerful, we don't need Harvard. And that's been my problem. I get tired of people talking about these Harvards and Yales. We don't have to go there to be successful. We really don't. Look at you. Look at you.
I agree with you. But I know a sitting judge right now in Hamilton County that did not go to Harvard or Yale, but swears that Harvard and Yale is the only, we some of us, black people, value Harvard and Yale over everything else.
Is this a black judge? Is this a black judge?
Yes.
Don't say the name. I'm just saying this is a black judge.
It's a black judge.
In Hamilton County that values. Did they graduate from Harvard?
No.
Okay, you say they didn't graduate from Harvard, but yet they value it more.
Yes.
They got an issue. I would be afraid of that judge, to be honest with you. I would say that judge probably, and I gotta be careful in what I say, but and only because I don't want to offend anybody that's an officer of the court, such as myself. I would say that person probably has some form of racial bias when you make a statement and you feel that way. I'm sorry.
I don't think they have racial bias. I think it's more class. I think it's more classism than racism.
See, there you go. There you go. It's either racist or it's gonna be classism. We can't have it both ways, brother. You can't say that people that make these type of calls is not a racist type of situation, and then sometimes it's classism.
No, I think it's a class situation because they would look at Harvard and say they're better than Ohio State, which is a primary white institution. So it's not they're better than HBCUs; it's they're better than every other school on the planet. It's a class thing.
Well, I understand, and I understand your point. I understand where you're coming from. But I'm going to tell you right now, it is becoming an even scale. And what I mean by that is this. You can graduate from Chase Law School, and you can graduate from Harvard Law School. There's only going to be so many jobs available for Harvard school grads, okay? Only so many. And Harvard Law School students are only trying to get certain jobs. Okay, it's almost like, if you go to school to be a mechanic, damn it, you going to school to be a mechanic to fix cars, not necessarily going to mechanic just to fix Mazdas, okay, or Toyota. You going to school to fix all cars. But see, in law school, if you want to go to Harvard, I can guarantee you one thing. You are looking to go into 5 aspects of law. That you're only choosing 5 aspects of law. You're not going to Harvard Law School to be a criminal defense attorney. That's not going to be your focus, okay? It's going to be more in the corporate, more into the political area, all right, if you're going to Harvard. And are you going to get into this multi-million-dollar media stuff like Joy Reid and these guys? You understand what I'm saying, E? That's the only reason why you're going to... not going to Harvard is not stopping anything over here. I promise you. It's not stopping us. Now, let me ask you this about that situation if you got a second, E.
I got a second.
Okay. First of all, are you going on at 3?
Yeah.
Okay. Y'all go check out E after this show right at 3 o'clock. But check this out. Let me ask you this question.
All right.
How do you feel about... Damn, I kind of lost my question a little bit because I told him to come get you. But let me just ask. How do you feel about the affirmative action being it's the affirmative action of college enrollment? Okay, first of all, have you heard? You've been hearing people say they ended affirmative action. Don't it kind of sound like they did away with affirmative action as a whole?
It does.
Okay.
It does.
And you know that's wrong. You know that's virtual signaling. They shouldn't do that.
Yeah,
They shouldn't do that.
they should.
But here's
I
my
agree.
question. I got my question for you. How do you feel about people blaming Republicans for that when in fact it's the Asian American minority group that filed the lawsuit and have been fighting it for 7 years, and it's just now come down to decision. It came down to answer/decision just now.
Well, here's how I feel about it. I'm all right with people blaming Republicans. And here's why. Now, of course, I have to look and see who was funding that Asian American group. All right, and it could have just been Asian Americans, but I had to look and see who was funding it. But when the reason why I think a lot of people are blaming Republicans and why I'm okay with them doing that is because the people who voted to overturn affirmative action when it comes to college admissions, I would say they were appointed by Republicans, and this is what Republicans wanted to see done. So it don't matter who came up with regard to some of these people who they blame. It don't matter who initiated the court case.
It does matter, E.
But here's why I'm saying it don't matter, because the people who made the decision are the people who's responsible for it, not the people who, because they could have lost. But the people who made the decision are the people who are responsible for making the decision.
So you basically saying that 7 years ago, we knew we were going to have a majority. They knew they were going to have a majority in the Supreme Court, which they already did, quite honestly. So basically, that made the Asian group who was being punished under affirmative actions, it was unbalanced. You think that the Republican Party has something to do with them filing that lawsuit?
No,
for their own fair. Well, that's basically what you just said.
I'm saying it's I have to look and see. Do you know who funded the group that filed the lawsuit all the way through?
Like paid for the? I mean, it was a group. It was a class action lawsuit. So you looking at a group.
But you still need money.
Not necessarily. I'm not going to say that they did it for free because it's not a civil case or anything. There's no money or reward. But in a prestigious case like this, think of what the law firm has just achieved. Now they've changed a Supreme Court ruling in their favor. You tell me what kind of, they kind of got a golden road to wherever they want, whatever they want to do in a Washington, D.C. in that area.
Right. And in terms of the leanings of that law firm.
Let me ask you something. How much do you think Benjamin Crump charges his clients?
I have no idea.
Because he don't. The prestigious and the position that he takes is more valuable than any money he can charge them up front. That's why he does that. So it's the same thing in this particular case. You're suggesting that somebody funded them to go in and make all this chaos happen, when in fact, the facts are that the numbers that they had to achieve as Asian Americans were like 257 points more than a black person had to score on the test. Plus they had to beat white people. Then they had to beat white females. So they were in a position where...
I'm not making the argument. You asked me the question about people blaming Republicans for this.
So why would they do that if they have this information?
I would ask you in return,
okay,
the people who sit on the bench, who made that 6-3 decisions, those 6, were they appointed by Republicans or by Democrats?
But what relevance does that have of the lawsuit?
Well, the relevance is not of who filed the lawsuit. The relevance is of who made the decision.
Well, because
we talked earlier in the show about making decisions, and the person who make the decision is responsible for the decision that they make. But now it feel like what you're saying is, all right, these guys made the decision, but they're not responsible for the decision. The people that filed the lawsuit is responsible for the decision. That's not true.
Boy, that was that was confusing. But now let me just say this to you. They have nothing to do with someone filing a lawsuit that they feel they've been discriminated against.
Right.
And the simple fact is this: they didn't file the lawsuit and it went directly to the Supreme Court. They had to file this lawsuit 7 years ago. They filed it 7 years ago, and it manufactured itself up to Supreme Court. It kept winning and kept getting they people start filing, like districts start filing. I don't know. I'm assuming they were turning it down. Okay, and then the team for the Asians refiled and took it to a higher court each time. So you got to understand, they never knew it was going to get to Supreme Court. So your argument of they knowing that Supreme Court will happen for them, that
was never my argument.
Oh, well, you said that the people that's up in Supreme Court, if you just basically how I took what you said is, if you can get it all the way up to Supreme Court, you'll win because of who's sitting there.
No. Because
Okay.
they had an equal chance of losing.
It could have lost at the first stage. It could have lost at the second stage, third stage, and fourth stage.
Right, but you asked me who was to blame for the decision. And you said people are blaming Republicans for overturning affirmative action when it comes to college admissions. And you asked me, how do I feel about that? And I'm saying, those Republicans, those people who were appointed, they were appointed by Republicans. So
but let me tell you something.
Who I would blame.
Let me explain something to you though, E. The simple fact that it was overturned by law, not opinion. Okay, it was overturned by a discriminatorial law. Okay, the only reason why the Asian group won, and the other three that voted against, they didn't vote, but they wrote against it. Their answer was against it. You knew that was going to happen. That's why they got appointed to be able to have a different point of view of things. Okay,
it's the interpretation of the law.
No, it's the law.
It's the interpretation of the law. Clearly,
first of all,
First
of all, you have to go by numbers. The admissions are different for the two, so it's not an interpretation. It's a pure fact that one person was chosen over the other based on skin tone, skin color, and also based on criteria. So it's not an opinion. It's not an interpretation. It's a pure fact that if you're black, you can score this amount on entry. If you're Asian, you have to score this much because you're going up against this. These are facts.
Why? Look, I don't know if you misunderstanding what I'm saying or what, but all I'm saying is when these cases go to the Supreme Court, what are judges supposed to do when they get a case? They are supposed to interpret the law and apply it to the case, or how it applies to the case. It is an interpretation of the law. Two judges can look at the same set of facts and interpret the law differently. So you don't just say, no, it's just a fact that it's against the law.
No.
A lot of these cases, especially when it goes to the Supreme Court,
the
interpretation of the law.
Okay, and what's the interpretation based off of? Facts.
But no, not necessarily.
What? It's an opinion? Opinion of the facts?
Yes. That's why they call them the opinion.
No.
They call them opinions.
I understand that, E, but you're misinterpreting the whole process here, bro. I'm telling you, you can't just say, well, because I think this law means that this is what I'm gonna say. That's not quite how it works. The answer.
Oh my goodness.
Well, it's not. I'm trying to tell you, it's not. It might look like it. It might. That's how they would write it up on the blackboard, but that's not quite how it works. Language plays a big part in law. Language don't all. It's not the same thing. It's not the same thing that we hear on an open ear. When you hear something, it don't necessarily mean the same thing that what you might think it might hear. Okay.
But Mr. Wyatt, if what you're saying is so, then every judge would rule the same way in every case. You wouldn't have one judge ruling, then another judge overturning, and then another judge overturning that. They would all rule the same.
Well,
they all got the same set of facts.
I'm not suggesting that there's not any opinion. I'm not suggesting that at all. But there is a level of what standard law is. You have to look at the circumstances, the facts of the case, and that's what you judge your decision off of. Not what your straight opinion is. That's why some of those, what you want to call opinions that were written by some of these judges who made their opinion, that's why some of it didn't make a lot of sense. You could see what area it was coming from. And E, let me just say this to you, bro. It's funny how somebody, not you, but one of the judges there, had a whole opinion about this, but couldn't give you an opinion of what a woman was.
Well, that was a loaded question.
No,
if I asked you
it's
right
not a
now,
loaded question. It's
yeah,
not
that
a
was
loaded question.
But define a woman.
A woman is, first of all, you asking me?
Yeah.
Okay, a woman, first of all, is what my mother was. It's a person who can birth children. It's a beautiful species, so to speak. It's a person
Okay.
that has
Now hold on.
eggs,
Now we sit in front of the
Ingrams.
Senate. Here's why she didn't answer that question. What you just said is the perfect reason why she wouldn't answer that question.
Okay.
You said it's a person who can birth children. So you saying that a grown woman who's barren is not a woman? And that's the trick they were trying to put her in.
No, it's
if
not.
You say
No,
it's
it's
somebody
not.
who can birth
No, it's
children.
not. It's not the
saw
trick.
She saw that trick coming a mile away.
Okay.
And she's like, basically, I'm not answering that question.
So even if that point that you just made was legitimate, which I disagree with, how was that a trick question for her? Because
all they wanted to do was, as your boy like to say, put her on that little sit and spin. So when she says a female who can birth children, then some senator would have said, so are you saying, Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson, that a female who is not able to give birth is not a woman? And then she would have had to clarify that. And then she would have said something else. They would have said, so are you saying, Judge Jackson, that a female who can't, it would have just turned into nonsense.
No. So what you basically trying to say is they were trying to put her in a trick bag for no apparent reason, because there's no reason to approach her and have that sit and spin, as you call it. There's no reason for that. Let me give you my interpretation.
Have you seen Marjorie Taylor Greene? Have you heard her up there asking these questions? Have you seen how they've been acting?
I've heard, but let me tell you what I think. My opinion on this is this. I think that they asked her what a woman is because of the LGBTQ, the transgender movement, and the rights that transgenders are trying to get as human beings in this country. I think it was more directed in that area than just saying a bunch of stuff just to confuse somebody. I think the lady is smart enough to understand the reason why they asked her what a woman is so she can have a definition of what a real woman is. And those people who are not a real woman will never be able to have the rights of a woman, which is being attacked right now in professional sports, in girl sports, all across this country at all levels, from elementary school all the way up to college.
I agree. She was smart enough to know why they asked her that question, and she was smart enough to know they about to try to trick me and trap me into something. But I'm not answering that question.
But see, that's not fair, because if you want to get a perspective of somebody that's going to be a Supreme Court judge, I think it's honest. It's an honest question, because they're going to have a ruling down in the years to come. They're going to have to give a ruling or an opinion of if somebody that was born a man should have the same rights as a woman. And I'm going to say this, bro, and I don't think it's going to be popular amongst my people here, or amongst people, period. I don't think that it's fair that if you were born a man that you can compete at elementary school level or college level or at a professional level against women. I don't think I don't think they're entitled to that same right as a woman. I think it diminishes women's sports. It's not fair. People get hurt. They take away school scholarships. They break in records. That is why they wanted to know what her take was on biological men and biological women. That's why. It had nothing to do with just sitting there talking crazy.
Here's what I'm going to do. First, I'm going to say, I don't agree with you, and I don't think she agreed with you. I think she saw the trap coming a mile away, and she avoided it.
What was the trap, E? Tell us the trap again.
The trap was exactly what I said to you. And it sounds nonsensical, but they don't care about sounding nonsensical. They just want sound bites. And so they would have did what they had to do to get some sound bites of her saying whatever, and then we got you, because you said only women could bear children, and what about all these? It would have been nonsense. She saw that trap coming and she avoided it.
Okay,
but
based on your logic, what were those sound bites going to be used for?
Donations and all that kind of stuff. Like, oh, she wants to be, look at what this wanted to be Supreme Court justice, and look at how, we, tore her up, and send that out in an email and raise some funds for their next
Let me tell
campaign.
you what's going to happen, brother, in the next few years. And I mean this because I got daughters, and I know you got a daughter, and you got a loving, that little baby is unbelievably cute. I seen her at the at the park, the balloon thing that you went to. She is an amazing little girl. She's
She's
gonna grow up, and maybe she might play softball. She might be a swimmer. She might be a tennis player. She might be something in the sports world. Okay.
She actually right now participates in mixed martial arts.
Okay, that's even better because I'm into the contact sport game myself. She might end up being a hopeful Olympic martial arts artist. Okay. Now let me ask you something, E. How would you feel if little baby was in the 6th grade and she's in this competitive sport of martial arts and she got to compete against a little boy that now identifies as a girl? Would that be fair, bro?
I'll be out there fighting with a little 6th grade boy.
But now you got to understand something, E. You got to understand something, E. That's exactly how we all feel. Now, let me tell you what's going on. The reason why you have to identify the difference between a male and a female, or what is a woman, is because when you put Supreme Court justices in that spot up there, they can change the world of America as we see it today.
I understand that. No,
so
I do. I understand that. But I'm saying you just mentioned, why wouldn't she answer that question? I'm just explaining to you.
She wouldn't answer the question
of why she wouldn't answer that question, because there is no one specific answer that's gonna be acceptable, and she don't want to be put in that trick bag.
Well, no, you can answer the question of what a woman is very specifically. Now, what you said, when I said a woman that can birth children, that has the ability to birth children, or however, or where we all came from some kind of way from a woman that gave birth to a person, or a woman that has the genetics or the genes of a female trait. That is clearly the identity. Someone that was born a woman. You can identify what a woman is. The reason
why, again, you're using logic and reason.
I'm using
again.
I can get technical.
Marjorie
Wait a minute,
Taylor
hold on.
Greene?
I can get technical and I can use science. I could use science and tell you that it's a pure difference of a DNA. I can use science. I can do all of that. But I'm telling you, E, if you get people in Supreme Court who's going to allow little boys to go into female sports because they identify, they're going to go get rights, and it's going to work itself up to the Supreme Court. And little baby going to be trying to be on the Olympic team for the USA, and she going to have to beat a little boy ass to do that.
And it's going to matter what each individual justice up there, how they interpret the law and the facts.
Well,
it's going to matter.
Well, you want to make sure that you have people that think the way they use the appropriate way of determining what a woman is. That's all I'm saying to you. You can't have just an opinion of it's somebody that's born a little boy who think he a little girl. You can't be that flatline with it.
Look, I agree with you 110% on that. Okay, 110%. I'm 110%
so
with you.
Can I ask you a question?
Okay.
If the new Supreme Court justice, if the sister had it on her desk today to give little kids the ability to take hormone pills and the ability to make the decision to be if he was a little boy that wants to be a little girl, and they were making a decision that a minor could make these decisions on their own without their parents, would you be for that? And how do you think that this new Supreme Court Justice, Ms. Brown, how do you think that she would rule on something like that?
Why, let me say, I am not for that.
Okay.
I am not for that, and I have no idea how she would rule.
Well, based on her avoidance of the question, I think a lot of us would have to say that she would probably side on it. And the reason why I say that is because
I think would definitely be assuming.
Yeah, it's an assumption, but I would tell you that it's very easy. Everybody else has been able to open up the what is a woman. If I ask you what a woman is, what's your definition of a woman, E?
My definition of my definition ain't technical. My definition is, you know what a woman is. You know what I'm saying? Stop it. She was born a chick.
Well,
and she grew up into a big chick. She's a woman. You know what a woman is. Okay,
no, that wouldn't be a significant answer.
Exactly, but that would be my answer.
That's better than what she gave.
But look, you and I'm not sitting in front of some Senate panel.
Man, they wasn't gonna stop. They wasn't gonna stop nothing. They weren't going to
I'm
stop
not sitting
her.
in front of some Senate panel
She was
waiting to
appointed.
pounce on me who got to vote.
She was
you know what I'm
appointed.
saying? And if I give them the wrong answer, they're going to vote no and all that kind of stuff.
No, bro.
What she did was brilliant to not answer a loaded question.
It was not a loaded question. If it was loaded, if you look at it the way you're perceiving it as if they were looking to use it as some way of mustering up some type of funds or some type of money to be. That had nothing to do with what she could have told. I don't think it had anything to do with it. I mean, it wasn't going to change. Did it change how they voted for her?
I don't think it did.
Okay,
but
so what would be the point?
But I think she understood what they were trying to do, and she did not give them the opportunity to do it.
She knew what they were trying to do, and she didn't answer the question because she didn't want to get in a situation of making an open opinion or making an open statement, and in 10 years from now, she has to look back on what she said when she was running for Senate or for Supreme Court, when she was trying to get the honor of Supreme Court. Those words, yes, those words. If she defines a woman, if she defines a woman and does it properly, she won't be able to give. She will, but she'll look foolish giving an opinion of what a woman is when she writes it 10 years from now when it hits Supreme Court, because it's on its way, bro. It's on its way. Little baby gonna have to kick a little boy ass to get on the USA team. I'm telling you.
Why we don't disagree with why she didn't answer the question, but I agree with you on what a woman is. But look, you sitting there in a suit, looking all dapper and shit, and I'm sitting here in my wife beater, trying to I got about 10 more minutes.
Yeah, we getting you over in 7 minutes. We getting you over right in 7 minutes. You ready and you set up? You ready to go?
No, I'm not. I got to go get ready.
All right, well, go ahead.
See, this is why I don't like calling your show.
I know. Because I don't like talking to you either.
I was gonna talk to you for like 5 minutes, say my little 2 things, and then be gone. You always keep me on the phone.
Hold on, E, don't front. When have we ever been on the phone for 5 minutes?
You always keep me on the phone for upwards of an hour, bro.
When have you ever been on the phone? You and I have been on the phone for 5 minutes. I ain't talking. Wait a minute, hold on, bro. I ain't even talked to your voicemail for 5 minutes. Shit, I got to talk to your voicemail for 25 minutes. I'm sorry.
Let me bring it full circle.
Okay.
I thought today would be the exception to the rule.
Okay. Got you. Touche. Got you. Well, it's not, so it didn't change. All right, man. So what? We'll see you at 3:00. I'll be tuned in and listening, and hopefully everybody will come over and listen to your nonsense of what a woman is. I know you're gonna talk about what a woman is, and why I think and why I don't know what a woman is either. All right, can hear you. All right,
Wyatt, take it easy, man.
All right, man. Talk to you, brother. All right, man. Like Emmanuel Livingston with that nonsense again. What the scorecard say on that topic? I'm just asking. He trying to say that lady, that Ketanji Brown, Supreme Court Justice, that she outsmarted the questions. No, she avoided the questions, not to give them promo work and all that. She avoided the question, E, whether you want to document this day. The day after the 4th of July. Today is July the 5th, 2023. Okay? 2023. And let me tell you something. 10 years from now, Ketanji Brown, Supreme Court Justice, will be answering if guys who were born women should be able to compete in female sports. It's going to be at the Supreme Court level within a decade, probably sooner than that. And she's going to have to write an opinion and give a ruling on how she feels about that. And she won't have anything to go back. They won't have anything to go back to and say, but wait a minute, when you were in, you know how they do it. They do that now. They didn't went back to the one dude's elementary school and said, wait a minute, you pinched a little girl on the butt in the coat room. You sure he's a good fit? The Democrats did that to one of them. I remember when Trump was putting one on my own. He's like, bro, wait a minute, hold on. You was in the coat room and you pitched little Lisa in the ass. And see, we can't have nobody like that on Supreme Court pinching little girls on the butt in the coat room. That's why I will never be a Supreme Court justice. because I pinched a couple of butts in the courtroom when I was a kid. But no, what it is, 10 years from now, 7 years from now, they won't have the information to put in front of her and say, well, back in 2022, when you were being appointed to the Supreme Court, you told us the definition of a woman was this. Now, is this case, the person that's in front of you, these transgenders that are in front of you, do they live up to what you defined as a woman? This is a very intelligent lady. This woman is very intelligent. She clearly knows what the hell a woman is. She clearly knows. But she ain't on Supreme Court for that. She's put in place to be able to manipulate what a woman is, because that's what they need those people to be able to do when they get there. Trust and believe, I knew why she wouldn't answer the question. She's probably one of the sharpest nails up on Supreme Court because she's fairly new. She's been with some of the better. I think she might have even been a clerk for one of the Supreme Court justices at one time. So this lady's not brand new to this shit. She know what she doing. She knew to avoid the question. They wasn't gonna use it for no promos. It was to have the content 7, 8, 9, 10 years from now to be able to put it in front of her when it's time for her to make a decision of should men who were boys that were born men, should they be able to compete in female sports? Should they be able to come and take the affirmative action spot of a female? Okay, I was born a man. I identify as a woman. So now I fall under the same affirmative action group as all women. I was born a man. And now I want to identify as a woman. And now I'm going to high school and break new records so I can get me a scholarship to go to college. And now I'm going to go and I'm going to break all these records worldwide. That's what's happening. They didn't have one guy get in there who identified as a woman as a professional boxer, and he damn near knocked that girl head off. Crushed her face. That shit is wrong. Let's go to the phone lines before we get out of here. Good afternoon, caller. This is Wyatt. Who am I speaking with? Good afternoon, caller. This is Wyatt. Who am I speaking with?
Wyatt.
What up? I was about to hang up, man. I thought you hung up on me.
Drop Squad 52, black, not Democrat.
What's good, Drop? What's happening with you, man?
Man, I swear to God, I didn't know that you actually are going to have a 10 a.m. show. I swear, I didn't know that.
10 a.m. Well, it's
10 a.m. West Coast. 10 a.m. West
1
Coast.
1 o'clock our time is what time your time? Sorry.
10 o'clock, 10 a.m.
Got you. I was a little confused there. I forgot you on the time difference. Okay.
Right.
Yeah, we went from the 9 a.m. show in Cincinnati, moved it to 1 o'clock because this week I'm in court all week.
Oh, okay. So when I tuned in, I'm thinking, did they bring back the Emmanuel Livingston and Wyatt live show?
The King and I. I mean, people have been requesting.
Yeah, King and I.
Yeah, I'm gonna reach out to E. He's going on at 3 o'clock here in a minute. You're gonna be the last call of the day, and then we're gonna let his show come on. But I've seen some requests on the screen here that we need to get that back going. And E and I, our time schedules have just not met to be able to do it. It's not. I mean, we have a great time doing it, but just the time.
So it's possible now in this 1 p.m. time slot that y'all have a chance to bring it back.
It's a possibility because we were doing the 1 o'clock thing. Yeah, it's a possibility. Maybe once or twice a week. I'll talk to E about it. It's just our schedule's been crazy.
Okay, because you really bring out the Democrat in him. He fights it, but you just bring it out, and he can't help it because I'm telling you, Wyatt. The more I watch you, when it comes, it's like you got E-Man, you in his head, and you don't quite know how to respond to your answers or your questions to him. But you do a great job, and I love it. But this whole topic, like I told you, Wyatt, 88% of Black folks look at the Democrat Party as a safe haven. So this whole conversation y'all was having was based on politics because it was the point of view of a black Republican versus the point of view of a black Democrat, Sonny Hostin. And I'm telling you, Wyatt, I love it. And she, to me, her point of view is getting a second look instead of what Tim Scott said. Because young black people, they seeing this shit, Wyatt, and they like, hold up, wait a minute, what you mean? What you trying to say? You know, but again, Wyatt, you're doing a great job. And before I go, I just want to tell you, Wyatt, we have had another transgender mass shooter in America in 2023.
That they not talking about.
Two of them, Aubrey Hale, who did the Nashville Covenant School, still have not seen her manifesto, LGBTQIA. And then in Philadelphia a couple days ago, you had Kim Brady Carricker.
Yeah.
Who did the mass shooting in Philly.
That was Philly? You said in Philly?
Yeah, in Philly. Yep. She went to court today. She whatever. But he went to court today. And again, they're not, like you always say, Wyatt, and I don't want to take credit, but again, it is what it is. It ain't going to be a big deal in a couple days. I'm telling you, Wyatt, but
it's barely a deal now. They barely talking about it now. I'll be honest with you. I haven't heard much about it. I know about it. 5 killed in Philly. That's horrible, bro. Bodysuit and armor and all this old goofy shit. Like, and a black person. And now
just like the one in Nashville, Wyatt, but they not tying this shit together.
Well, you haven't heard
the
Joe
FBI
Biden.
is, believe me,
wait a minute, hold on.
They profiling them now.
Slow down 1 second. I'm about to give you some ammunition. Tell me, ask me this. Why hasn't Joe Biden been down there? Is he going to send Kamala Harris to Philadelphia? Because it's not going to happen.
She was at Essence Fest getting black folks pissed off at the Supreme Court.
Yeah,
that's her job.
I know, but she's not going to send. Joe Biden's not going to go to Philadelphia because of those black folks that got shot, just like those people that got shot in Nashville and all that other shit. It's not going to happen.
It's not the guns' fault. It's those evil Republicans who make transgender think that everybody out to get them, so they got to defend themselves and they scared. I'm telling you, Wyatt, I can predict it like I always do. But that's what you're doing. You're doing a great job at exposing the chaos in our media, in our politics, and even within the black community per se. Because that bullshit E-Man was talking about, it sounds ridiculous, just like Sonny Hostin did sound ridiculous. So that's all I got.
Wait a minute, I got to ask you a question if you don't mind. Can I ask you a question? Did you hear?
Yes,
did you hear Emmanuel and I talking about what the Supreme Court Justice Kajana Brown, why she didn't answer the question of what's a woman?
It's Ketanji Brown.
What did I call her? Kajana?
Kajana, yeah. But that's you. I think that's your trademark.
Yeah, well, I'm bad with names. Everybody know that, but
yeah, we know what you mean. Why?
Okay, let's just say Mrs. Brown. Okay, the Supreme Court Justice. Okay, Mrs. Brown. Mm-hmm. Why do you think she didn't answer the question? Drop. Give me the lowest.
Because she knows the Democrat agenda, and she knows down the road she's going to see a case that's going to challenge.
She's going to have to make
this
that
whole gender identity thing. Because it's going to the courts. It always does.
It had nothing to do with they were going to be making sound bites off the situation and they were going to make up stuff. And no, it was all about in the next 5 to 10 years, she's going to have to make a ruling. And somebody's going to have to be some content creator, some news media, Fox, CNN, somebody, it won't be CNN, but somebody's going to say, but this is what she said about women, the definition of a woman. So how can she rule any differently than what the definition of a true woman is? She can't rule any differently than that. And it would come back to haunt her on her own words. That's the only reason why she didn't answer the question.
Yes, but in the meantime, until that case comes, every single case by the majority, which Clarence Thomas is on the majority, she's going to come out with a dissent argument or whatever they call it, where they go against the group.
Yeah,
it's going to show the black divide that I always talk about. But see now, Wyatt, this is the first time it's going to be at this level where we can see the difference between the way a black Republican thinks and the way a Black Democrat thinks. Because in the past, Wyatt, they totally eliminated that voice at the local level. But now you're going to have voices like Ice Cube, Tim Scott, Dave Chappelle. It's going to be a bunch of Black voices that are now going to be aligned with Clarence Thomas as opposed to Ketanji Brown Jackson. So just I'm telling you why, just buckle up, bro, because the politics is just beginning. So thank you for taking my call, and I'm gonna have to fit you into my retirement schedule.
All right. I appreciate
Start listening at 10 a.m. But it's gonna be fun because I usually walk at that time out here on the left coast. So thanks for taking my call, Wyatt. Peace out to everybody. Roz Freeman, Angela Kennedy, Donna Howard, Marcus Jenkins, and been about that check. Brenda Early, you too. All right, peace out, Wyatt.
Shout out to you, brother. See you later. Talk to you soon. Right. Thanks for calling. That's Drop. Well, I think that I gotta show this picture one last time before we get out of here. I want to say this in good gesture. Told you. I told y'all they was using her. I know y'all don't like to believe me. I know y'all think that I be on some old bullshit trying to hate on a Black woman and all that. I want Whoopi to go off and be great. But I'm going to tell you something. They used her. Now they not renewing her. They used her. I'm sorry to say it, but I'd rather see her go than to continue to be used in the manner that she was being used. Whoopi Goldberg is not a political person. She is not the type of person to give the point of view from the Black perspective, Black community. I disagree with that. I think that the takes and the things that she was saying was so off base. It was just a matter of time before somebody came down and said, she got to go. She got to go. And what I mean by that is when she makes statements that she was making, the Holocaust was not about race. And when you making comments about, Clarence, Tim Scott is just as bad as Clarence Thomas. I mean, this is just not good for the culture, period. Somebody called that shit out. Somebody called that shit out. She got to go. I've been on it for a while. Whoopi gonna be all right, y'all. Whoopi been making $9 million for years off The View. They just not gonna renew her. Maybe what she will do is she'll start her own podcast. Maybe I'll reach out to Whoopi Goldberg. Maybe I'll reach out to her and say, hey, come over to the Wyatt Live Network. I got a space for you, but you got to keep shit real. You can't be over here talking about oppressed Black folks. You can't talk about non-exceptional people. Like, I know you're an exception to the rule, Whoopi. You got to keep shit real. I wonder if Whoopi Goldberg, last statement, I wonder how well Whoopi Goldberg would do right now if she came out with her own podcast. Would she be able to maintain a $9 million a year salary? Will the same people that was rocking with her on The View stop watching her or stop watching The View and come over and watch her? She'll learn a whole lot of truth about the shit she say if she go out there and be independent. Just like Roland Martin. Just like Roland Martin. And just like a few others that when they go off and they leave them platforms, they don't take them audiences with them. Them audiences are there. It's a top trauma platform, and that's where the trauma thinking people stay. That's where they stay. She trying to bring them over to her platform like Roland Martin did. It ain't gonna happen, Captain. I promise you. Peace and love to everybody. I'll see y'all tomorrow at 1 p.m. Talk to you.
Music, please.
Very talented young man whose mellow and exciting style of rapping has earned them a gold album in only their PMD.
The E double or the PMD. The E double or the PMD.
I'm strictly business.
Because you might get shot. Trying to answer to the master or the empty rap goddess. No joke on no lyric. Sorry to be modest. I knew I was the man with the master plan to make it wiggle and jiggle like gelatin. Just think while I sing and to the bring structure. Don't sleep on the ear. You see something might rupture. It don't take time for me to blow your mind. It take a second to wreck it because you're dumb and blind. So just laugh. But you an MC clappers on the circus. EPMD is in town.
Total chaos, no mass confusion. Rhymes so hypnotizing on the course of illusion. Like a magician, he draws a rabbit out of a hat, son. I draw more like a 44 Magnum. MC Free, stop and listen and try to imagine. It's traveling the speed of light, but everything's motion is frightening. Plus the thought you alone, you now enter the dimension called the Twilight Zone. You're terrified. Plus you can't bear the thought. You and I one-on-one in the land of the lost. You start to shiver. Then you scream, my friend. You wake up monthly because you're dreaming again. But next time I want to see you, do not try to business. Keep your mouth so I can jump because I'm strictly business. Because I'm strictly business. Because I'm strictly business.
Because you might get shot.
Because I'm strictly business.
This is the rap season, when the East start teasing. Girls around the world, no need to be squeezing. When I roll, I show cool, always back at 2 just in case. My brother acts a fool, I got the energy to put the girls in the frenzy, put a shock when I rock. You enough, I'm not stingy, make sure I don't bore when I'm on the dance floor.
Get busy, boy.
Like you never saw before, one flow, good to go. After the show, I'll put your whole boy. You sniff blow. Hell no, have my whole life ahead of me, no time to be sniffing. My parents find out, then they start riffing. So I stay A-OK, cause I'm the E, the R-I-C-K.
Just look me in my face, then the eyes get weak. False rate descends, heart rate increases.